Hi, this is Chuck Martin. Here we are in Austin, Texas, and I'm very happy to say I've got with me today Rajat Kotra from Informa, Group Director AI and Data Analytics. Welcome again.
Hey, thanks, Chuck. Good to see you again.
So
Yeah.
we've talked multiple times, and I wonder if you can do kind of a bigger thing today. You've been involved you've been at IBM, you've been at GE, you've been at Experian, you've been a mentor to people, but you've been tracking business and technology for a long time. I wonder if you could put today in context where we are. Generative AI, is explosive. Where does AI fit kind of in the grand long scheme of business?
Okay, well, that's a intense question. So,
But there's nobody else who could do this but you.
let me try. So, I think of AI as more of a general purpose technology, something which will impact almost every industry. And if we just take a step back to move forward, in the business context, AI has really been around since 2009 and 10. If you kind of wind back a little bit, this was the time when Siri was coming in, and Alexa was in the works. And then I remember I used to be with IBM then, and IBM research team developed, after 25 years of intensive research, something called Watson. And Watson became kind of talk of the town in 2011 when it won the Jeopardy show, against the world's two most frequently won winners of that show. Now, after that is really when we became a bit more serious about using AI in business. AI has been, in discussions for many, many years before that. But from a business perspective, it was more around academic than real business value. So, from my experience, where we are on this journey, I think since 2009, 2010, from now, I would say, four major things have happened, right? One is that I remember Watson, when it started doing, business on AI, they really had three use cases. One more famous one was on oncology, cancer research. The second one was on financial advice. And the third one was on technical and product support contact centers. Now, from those three initial use cases for AI in business, I think in the last 10 years, we have explosion of use cases. You have 300, 400 use cases which are being talked about, implemented in any stage of, experimentation or deployment. So that's one important thing which has happened in the journey. The second thing which has really happened is, from a technique standpoint, right, new techniques have emerged. Some techniques which in machine learning were more discussed, less used, for example, reinforcement learning and even unsupervised learning, that has really become mainstream now. With generative AI, the one which you quote, I think the main development beyond transformers was how to use, human reinforced, learning. So human with human feedback. So that's been a big development since then. The third thing which has happened is, of course, it has democratized data science. If I look back many years back in this journey, there was a time when for you to talk data science, you have to be a computer scientist, but now not anymore. Right now, general business practitioners, the code can be automated. What you need to really focus on is what do you want to do and why. And the how is pretty much available for you now to experiment with, use, etc.
So it's the big change back from Watson. Watson, as you point out, was very famous, but then it's almost like AI still wasn't in mainstream. Is it the generative AI that made it more public, or is it something before that?
So the short answer is yes. Generative AI has definitely brought this into day-to-day discussions in business. But frankly, I consider from my experience generative AI as one tube stop. The journey is much, longer than this. I think to your first question again, we are in the journey, and I would say we are in the right direction of the journey. We still haven't been able to define the tube stops and the final destination yet.
Any thoughts on what that might be, or what the rest of the journey looks like? Is it never ending?
It could be never ending. My sincere pursuit and expectation is that from a business perspective particularly, we focus on business application of use cases, not worry too much about AI being sentient and what's called artificial general intelligence, because frankly, those things, if they happen, right, I'm sure as humanity we'll be able to manage before that. Right? If you think about things, you know, we learned or experimented with cloning many years back. But what's happening now? You are not allowed to clone, pretty much. So this whole discussion of where AI is going, when gets balanced with ethics, I think we will find a reasonably good outcome for business. So I'm pretty hopeful about that.
And ethics, obviously you've always been involved in ethics. Is that getting better in business now in AI?
It is getting better, right? I would say at least it's being discussed. Do I have tangible examples to quote as many as I would like? Probably not yet. But frankly, from a business discussion perspective, if you talk to people who matter in business, who are sitting in those positions, who can make a difference, I think compared to 2 years back, there is much more acknowledgement of ethics. There is much more acknowledgement of governance, which is needed for initiatives like this. So yeah, that's a positive step forward.
So you're in the industry all the time. What is the industry view of AI? Are they like people like you and your colleagues saying, well, we've been watching this for a long time, relax about generative AI, we know what that really means? Or are they saying, finally, I get more recognition because AI is now mainstream? What's kind of the general feeling in the industry?
Well, it's a mix of all of those, honestly, right? So there are sections which feel that, okay, now whatever I've been doing in my lab has, got general attention. So that's a positive thing. Hype is good, right, to some extent. Then, of course, overhype is not good. So the others are feeling the pressure that now suddenly, if you speak to 100 people at random, almost 80 of them are saying they're AI experts. Well, the question is, where were they 2 years back? Right? So, people follow, where the market is going. So that's a normal phenomenon, natural, at best. But I would say that, frankly, we are still scratching the surface from an application of AI perspective, right? But right now, what generative AI has done has brought the discussion around what's, useful. Like any technology, like I said in the beginning, it's a general purpose technology. Let's not kid ourselves. This will impact every area of business. The question is, every technology can be positive and negative. It's a knife, like a knife. You can use a knife to cut vegetables, or you can use it to kill people. So the point is, how will we set the right examples of where to use AI and make sure that, we get the world together. And I'm saying world, not just, companies, but well, the world together to make sure that we don't use AI where it's not the best use of it and where it can have harmful impacts.
In your view, are businesses realistic about the time frame for some of this implementation? Are they saying we want it now, or are they saying it's long term, let's wait?
So if you asked me this question 4 months back, I would say there was impatience. But I am seeing more and more now, because I speak to a lot of business leaders. I try to, talk to them a lot as much as possible. And I'm realizing now there is some sense of realism setting in. So the initial euphoria is trying to settle down now. I read a recent survey where, almost 70% of CFOs globally are saying that this is good, but we'll wait and watch.
So are they realizing the cost of it?
I think I spoke about this earlier as well. The cost of actual implementation is not yet fully known, right? You can, find out very easily from Google, and not just, any chat GPT or any Bard, but just a Google search will tell you that there is data to say that OpenAI spends about $700,000 per day on running their engine. Now, of course, some companies can do that, but the majority of them cannot do that.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
So on the journey, what do you see as the next AI step in the journey, if you can predict that?
See, from a business perspective, I think we are right now, and Gartner calls it, we are at the peak of inflated expectations as far as generative AI is concerned. If you follow their hype cycle, the prediction is that it will take at least the next 5 to 10 years to come to a productivity plateau. So what that really means is that I think for the next stop, we will have some experiments which will work well, some experiments which will go wrong. And the next stop is to really identify, which are the specific use cases and domains where this is adding value. Think of it like, the example I would give is, think of it as a mouse to a computer, not the computer itself.
Well, I look forward to tracking the journey with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chuck. Thanks. Thank you so much.